Alrighty. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna upload this one as well. So it's gonna be like 20. That way I can get a good a good number there. It was gonna be 18, but now I've just decided to do these live streams because I see this stuff. So I've been listening a little bit and trying to understand a little bit more about Mensch's Molebug, aka Curtis Yarvin, as well as Common Filth. I heard a little bit of Common Filth before, and I saw that he had come back. And now it seems that he's kind of at least retreated, at least the channel that I was listening to him from on YouTube. Maybe it got taken down. Who knows? I just half the time I look through the channels that I'm subscribed to on YouTube, and it's like at least a third or more are like, oh, this channel was deactivated. So it's just like, okay, all right. But I thought I'd talk a little bit about comebacks and how this can lead to a lot of rivalry, and how sometimes it may not come out as the best way to bring yourself into the system, so to speak, or bring yourself back into the mainstream, or at least bring yourself back into the part of society that you aligned yourself with, such as people like Mensch's Molebug, who are part of the neo-reactionaries, and people like Common Filth, who definitely come from kind of the traditional Christian sort of thing. And I say traditional Christian because I can't say Catholic, because of course I believe Common Filth is a Protestant and has done videos about how Catholicism bad and everything else. But I briefly want to do this. Like I say, just like the other videos, I'm going to try to make this like 5.5 minutes. That way y'all can just a little taste of my intellect and my my mediocrity. And it's okay. I know I'm mediocre. I know I'm mediocre. It's okay. But it's kind of like with music. And I think this because I am a very shallow American, but I'll say it nonetheless. It's like with music, where you think about, I don't know, like Public Enemy trying to keep up with where music went, because you had, Fight the Power, and you had all this great music that was revolutionary, not just in a literal sense, a potential literal sense, but also in a sense of who else is talking about this, whether it's Fight the Power, whether it's, songs like Can't Trust It, this and that, but they couldn't really keep up the same type of thing, because of course it got swallowed up by the machine. Or, you could say it just got swallowed up by the cathedral, if we want to. See, I'm trying to use some new words now. I'm trying to use some new words, folks. Give me a little bit of credit. I'm trying to change. Anyway. But, and we saw really how it got swallowed up by the cathedral, and they just became another group. This is the same type of thing even with rock music as well. I mean, you could say the same type of thing. How does a group like Guns N' Roses try to keep up? Or how does whatever the case may be, keep up? Now, of course, the thing is, the difference with Common Filth and and Curtis Yarvin, aka Mensch's Molebug, these were both folks who had a very specific niche. Common Filth, a lot of that became the Wignats and everything else. And of course, Common Filth, what was he famous for? For saying that, rightfully so, that homo-fascism is a thing, and it is a danger. That's one of the biggest things we can take away from it. We was Greeks, we was practicing man boy love and shit and all this type of thing. That was his famous thing. And of course, people would send him articles about, homo-fascism and just how, and all the fucked up things that are going on, Nowadays, I mean, I don't even see the channel where he uploaded about old video games. I don't even see that anymore. I mean, who knows? Who knows? I mean, he probably went underground. People were probably still spurging. Who knows? But it seems like he's kind of disappeared from the wayside. Now, Curtis Yarvin has went down another path. Curtis Yarvin, of course, now has the idea of the Gray Mirror of the Nihilist Prince, which is his new work. And honestly, I haven't heard that much about, I've kind of been afraid to talk about it because it's like, I kind of stuck to the Wignat crowd. I'll be honest with you. And that's unfortunate for me because I think that there's a lot to be gained from what Mencius Moldbug has said. And I know people like the Distributists have talked about him as well. And of course, Charlemagne has a whole series of videos, so I'm not going to go on and on about it. You can gladly go on Charlemagne's channel and you can look through all the videos that he's done talking about Mencius Moldbug's writings up to 2013. But now I want to talk about Mencius Moldbug now. And the thing is that, according to him in this podcast I'm listening to, is that he was working in the gold mine, in the coal mines, or working, just working a regular job. And, now he's decided to, join the Tram. A little bit past its day, but nonetheless. So he has a subscription. $100 a month, I believe, is what I'm looking at here. You know what? Should I show screen? Well, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it this time. But basically, yeah. You go on his channel. Or it's not in his channel, sorry. You go on his site, Gray Mirror, and you can talk and you can read about, Persuasion of the Mensheviks, Famagusta, and we're going to see if people are still going to see this as an alternative to sort of the Wignatism that still exists. And basically, the Wignatism comes from just TRS, basically. We've seen, of course, all the arguments go back and forth between Stormfront and, TRS and, all the business that happened with Mike Enoch. And, of course, the business with Stryker and all their doxing. It's a fucking mess. And people are addicted to drama. We all like to see a bit of drama, especially in this very niche sphere. And I just hear about this stuff second or third hand. I keep my distance from it. I put out my little videos here and there, and and that's what I do. But I think it's interesting to say the least. There's the phrase that I was looking for. I was thinking about what phrases I overly use. I think it's interesting to say the least. Let me get that out of my vocabulary. I'm sorry. I tend to repeat myself. I tend to get too mechanical. So I'm at least going to try to change the way I say things a little bit. I'm trying to change my thinking pattern somewhat. So I'm going to... But I think that Curtis Yarvin coming back and speaking and being more vocal and has gotten more fanfare is a good thing. I think in these times when I think that the right, in general terms, speaking very loosely, is at one of its lowest points. Charlottesville, caused huge splits, caused the National Socialist movement to become, basically owned by a black man, or a black dude owning it. Jeff Shep, the former head of the National Socialist movement, became another guy with the Picciolini, anti-extremist sort of guy, and that became his hustle. And of course, that's very popular now. You have people out looking for all these folks, and you have kind of this the Brown scare, as Curtis Yarvin put it a while back. Now, of course, the thing is, Curtis Yarvin doesn't like National Socialism, doesn't like those ideas, and I can't really blame him. I don't really care for it either, necessarily. Ultimately, I should be able to try to go through these things and not be attached to any one of them. That's my goal anyway. Does it show on screen that I may have a bias? Of course. But this was longer than I expected it to be. But we can see that I think, will Curtis Yarvin be as influential as he once was? Well, his new route, his new route is basically trying to write things like Machiavelli did, which is, basically giving guides to governorship, particularly, in a Americentric way. I'm using some very big words now. I'm sorry. You get a little bit of education, and you suddenly act like you know better. Anyways, so we'll see where this goes. So far, I think that there are a lot of fans. And I think there are a lot of people who maybe are reactionary, but they don't want to be labeled with the alt-right and everything else. Even though that term alt-right has been dead, I would argue, since 2018, maybe even 2017. And a lot of folks just woke up to it. And even I will admit, I think that I have given some counter signaling, but I will say is that the death of Heather Heyer was definitely a turning point. And of course, nowadays, apart from, some boomers and everything else that continue to use the term boogaloo, that term is dead in the water. If you even just remotely say the word boogaloo, apart from actually breaking to electric boogaloo, then the feds are going to see you. I also saw, of course, this is just a side note here, but I'm going long, so I might as well go for it. But I saw Marshall Ironsides just finally give up and say, I'm tired of seeing folks, flashing guns and videos, and he broke his, he broke character. I mean, for me, I don't have a character. This is just me. But he broke character and just said, I'm done with it. I'm pulling the plug. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, look, yeah, there are plenty of dumb people out there. Yeah. But that shows more on you than it does them, at least in my view. But, we shall see in time. And that's another phrase I use over and over. But I think that Minch's Moldbug is a breath of fresh air. And I'm not just saying that just to get points. I'm not going to do that just to get some clout. I really don't think I am. I'm not going to pay the $100 subscription. No, I'm not going to do that. But I think that he did talk about the book, a late era Ernst Jünger book called, what was it? Let me see here. Let me see here. There we go. Umsville. I don't know how. Eumswil. Umsville. And it is kind of a post-apocalyptic type thing, which does sound right up Curtis Yarvin's alley. And I think that there is a lot of truth to that. And I think, and maybe I've had my eyes opened to a point, and some of it is clout, I will be honest, that maybe Curtis Yarvin does have a point talking about an actual system that may work instead of, just kind of let's copy what we did in the past, which I think that both the left and the right suffers from immensely suffers from that. We suffer from LARPerism, and I'll admit I've done it too. I've given my opinions in my videos about, which I will call, of course, to try to fool folks. I don't know if it'll work. They'll probably take them down. But how the Balkans will save the U.S. In other words, how balkanization will save the U.S. Basically, what I'm talking about is, now I'm just going to promote myself. I'm sorry. But we'll try to finish this up within 15 minutes. That way it's not too long. Because I want y'all to go about your day and continue on. Anyways, is how balkanization, how these autonomous zones, as much as I ridicule them as everyone else, places like, of course, Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, I think that this will happen more and more. And that, yeah, Chaz did not work. And yeah, 2 people did die. But I think that once you get a better idea, and once you are able to show that it's viable, then you can get the gentries involved. Then you can get the managers involved. You can get, all these other folks that actually have experience running a business or, running a city. Once you get those folks involved and not just, just blindly give lip service to them as they did, as the city of Seattle did with Chaz by giving them barriers, this and that, and also being able to send them in pizza and, and set out porta potties and everything else. Once that happens, then yeah, we may see some potential stuff going on. Now, of course, are these autonomous zones going to be allowed? It's a whole other story. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Like I say, I think that it's an interesting point. I just kind of rambled a bit, and but I think overall, I think that we've seen people like I'm trying to think. Sorry, I'm sorry for the blank here. For people like Common Filth have kind of disappeared into the mist, so to speak, and I think was able to maintain his anonymity. Whereas people like Curtis Yarvin, they've shown their faces, so they have to go down the route of, okay, I might as well have a paywall, and I might as well have my, might as well put my writings onto this website that I own, and that you can pay $100 a month. And hey, now you can see all my writing, folks, so enjoy. And that's just, but that's the game you have to play. That's the game that we play in this system. I imagine that he, get involved with Bitcoin as well, which I'll probably have to get involved with the next few years. Who knows? And I think that, I'm starting to realize, of course, is that I was too much of a follower, and I still am. But I think that, I'll be realistic, as a lot of folks have woken up. You can't just be an escapist and say to yourself, well, I'm going to go live in a yurt or something like that. I'm going to go live in Montana and try to make it out there. No, I'm a city slicking fool. And like I say, I mean, I've said this sentiment before, and I may actually leave Texas eventually. But, leaving a city, I probably won't. I'll probably end up just being another city slicking fool, as everyone else is. As a lot of folks are, I should say. I think with that, now I've really said my piece. And I hope y'all enjoy this. And I'm going to upload this I'm actually just going to put out 5 videos in the first week. What I'm going to call, the opener. I'll put it that way. And then I'm going to do a lot of the response videos that I did, including to a redfish video. I did a video, of course, which I'm going to put out in that first group, the opener, with 3 Arrows. 3 Arrows did his video. And of course, being the self-hating German that he is, of course, we knew what that was going to be about. And all sorts of stuff. So I think I'll keep it there. And I hope y'all enjoy these videos that are going to be coming out. So with that, have a good day and see you later. Goodbye.